Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Office 365 Pulse with Jennifer Ann Mason, SharePoint MVP, SharePoint Server MVP. Today, Jennifer has a surprise special guest, Corey Roth, who is an Office 365 consultant specializing in solutions in the oil and gas industry, as well as Corey is a five-time recipient of the Microsoft MVP Award in SharePoint Server as well. Welcome, everyone.
Hey guys, welcome to the show today. I was able to convince Corey to join me last minute as we were doing things. He didn't really get a choice with this one, so happy that he was home today and he could join me. But Corey and I just got back from a week vacation on the high seas, so we were just on a cruise trip. So today I had to get back and get my brain off of cruise vacation mentality. I'm happy to say that we didn't open a computer for an entire week and it was glorious. So this week was a fun week for me trying to catch up on all of the things that have come out. So we think we've got a good summary of all the updates that have been coming out. And as always, if you guys have questions, put them into the open chat among attendees, that box that's over there that everyone can see. So we can go ahead and get any questions that you have answered so we can share information with you guys. So, Lyman, do you want to change this over so I can start? There we go. So I can start sharing my screen. I have a sway. As always, the link for the sway is over in the Pulse links. So it says today's sway, and you guys should be able to see that now on your screen. So we're going to kind of scroll down and get started with all of the changes. I should have added Corey as a co-host, but I didn't. Sorry, love.
It's all right.
I'll
No worries.
hopefully you can forgive me. Um, oh,
This
just
time.
yeah, this time I'm forgiven. Okay. Just some simple updates. It seems like the exchange team has picked this summer to be busy. I'm actually a little bit surprised based on, people who have been living in the land of Microsoft for years know that this is the end of their fiscal. So July 1st, everything resets. So I'm kind of surprised that we've seen so much activity in the month of June still, but it seems like the exchange team has been very busy the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they have. I think Windows team obviously super busy as well. Headed towards their launch next month on the 29th with the new release of Windows. So I think unusually busy summer for Microsoft.
Maybe this is the wave of the future. Maybe this is what the new Microsoft is going to be all about. So it's all very,
Yeah, it
very
could
cool.
be. It could be. A lot of times, Microsoft people tend to just disappear in the month of June, right after the fiscal starts. So I
Yeah.
think it'll be different this year, though.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely seems like it. So lots of good stuff coming out of them. It seems like a lot of the exchange stuff that recently came out was about, threat protection and some more advanced features for Exchange Online. Um, Protection against attachments, real time protection against malicious URLs, and reporting so that admins can go in and do additional reporting. So to me, this kind of seems like a lot of stuff that Exchange administrators are now like, oh, this is awesome. Now we have these features. We can go into it and we can look and we can continue being, Exchange administrators going in and monitoring and maintaining things. So I haven't seen any of these new features. Have you seen any of these new ones, Corey? I've
I
read
haven't seen
about
them
them, but
implemented
haven't
yet.
seen
No,
them.
just what they posted. I think it's interesting, if it can block links kind of in real time, check them to see if they're good, before letting the users go to some bad website that infects their
Right.
computer, for example.
Yeah. Being that they're doing everything at such a large scale now, all of these great things that they're learning and things that they're able to do now are really going to impact even the smallest of organizations. So lots of really cool changes there. Next up, for those of you guys that know me well, I can't pronounce anything. I can barely pronounce things in my native tongue, let alone anything else. And so I
This
don't
is true.
even know, and Corey can laugh about this. We're wine snobs. We're not really snobs, we just like wine. So you can only imagine how comical it gets when I try to start pronouncing the different wine names. And so there's no exception for that with technology. So I am sure that I'm going to butcher this. Is this Wunderkinder, Wunderkinder? What is? How do they
I
pronounce this
think
stuff?
it's
Do you
going to
know?
be 6 Wunderkinder, would be my guess.
Ah,
And I don't know a whole bunch of German, but if we have any Germans in the room, they can
they can let us
correct us for
know.
sure.
So this is an interesting one because they acquired a to-do list app. And so, as Microsoft is going into this cloud first, mobile first, what we're seeing, in my opinion, is they're starting to acquire the best of mobile. So they've acquired a mobile calendar. Um, Now they have
Mail.
this mobile task list, which is particularly interesting. I like the way that they say it's our ambition to reinvent productivity and help people achieve more across all major platforms. Which is interesting because it's that task list right now and syncing that, and it's it's one of those features that I like to call cute. It's definitely um, definitely not something that's super awesome, and they've even made changes for how you can do that. So seeing that Microsoft acquired this, it's just another an interesting piece. Do you know anything else about this, or have you read more up on this one, Corey, about what
I haven't really
we
read much.
might start to see out of it?
I understand that the people that use the app have a pretty strong following, and they weren't too excited about Microsoft taking a product and potentially ruining it. Um, but I think the things that we've seen with like the Comply integration, which basically became Outlook,
Yeah.
and then of course the calendar that they just purchased a few months back as well. I think those are all good things. And so, Task have always been kind of a second class citizen on all these devices, right? So I think it's good to see something like that come to the platform. I think that'll make using Task more of a first class experience because it's something I used to use a lot in Outlook and I really don't use anymore, right? Because it's not, there wasn't really a good way to see it, on your phone
Right.
or whatever.
It makes me wonder how they'll integrate all of it. It looks like Dan is a lover of it. We got three loves, so he must really like to use it.
Three love. That's a
So
lot of love.
a lot of love, a lot of love going for that. And it's he says it conversations on each task. I love that. I mean, now we're going to have conversations in yet other places. So it'll be interesting to see how they're able to incorporate all of it into integrate into one complete and total story. So that's an interesting one. I think we really need to just watch in the task and even in the calendar space. I think those are two areas that while SharePoint, traditional SharePoint that we know of and that we've used and that we've loved, they've always had task and calendars. They've never been super awesome, in my opinion. They're
Yeah,
always very
especially when you
difficult
talk
to
about
work with.
integration, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I, for one, if they can reinvent this and figure out a new thing, I think it is going to be, um, I think it's going to be wonderful. So I'm definitely watching this space in anticipation um, to see what comes out of it. And I hope they take the best of some of these new apps that they're purchasing and acquiring and pull it together into some of the traditional things we've seen.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so too. And some of it's rolling over to Windows 10, although, so there's new
Yep.
mail and calendar apps there as well that are already available if you're on the Insider Preview. So they're improving the experience there. I don't think this is necessarily from their acquisitions, but they're trying to make your mail and calendar experience a first class experience, regardless of what platform you're on.
How are you feeling about 10? Have you done some of the
Windows
latest builds? I
10's
know.
getting better, so I'm on the latest build, 10.130. This one's about a month old, so I'm expecting we'll probably see another one, maybe this week even, maybe next week. I can't imagine it'll be much longer. And it's by far the most stable build I've been on, by far, I would say, today. I think there's a few graphical glitches which might just be related to my Surface or something like that. So every once in a while my screen just flickers randomly, but I'm not seeing the lockup issues or the login issues like I used to. So um, it's close. Obviously, we're only a month out now, so
I know it kind of concerns me that we're a month out and I still haven't felt comfortable enough to put it on my primary device. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get bold this week, but I'm thinking I probably won't, but
I can't see that
we'll
happening.
see.
Or
Yeah,
you'll
I
hand it
can't
to
see
me,
that.
right? So
Yeah, we might wait until the real build comes out, but interesting. I'm interested to see, but you brought it up, so I thought I'd ask and see. So
oh, yeah.
moving through to some additional features, I think this one is really cool. Auto expanding archives for Office 365 email, and so this is really pushing towards those customers with very large storage. Um, they want you to be able to take advantage of it without having to click anything. And so in the past, you were going to have to
Oh, service an
to
incident, right?
yeah, go in and do
Okay.
different incidents and change different things, command line prompts, and it was just um, kind of a pain in the butt. And so, based on need and demand and different things like that, they've made some back end changes that allow this to just kind of automatically happen, which I think is super awesome. So, um, definitely a good thing.
Yeah, for
Um,
the exchange administrators, I think that'll just be one less thing to worry about, right?
yes, because if you're using those different features and stuff like that, you don't want to have to change that all the time. So you definitely want to be able to just, why have to do that administrative command if I don't need to? So I think that that's pretty cool. So that one's just a simple update, and those are kind of the small things um, that keep coming and just making things easier. Speaking of updates that keep coming, this one's interesting. I think it's insane that they have a million customers using the Office 365 preview right now. Um, so I think that's kind of oops, pull my sway back here. That's kind of a big number. So to think about a million different people running Office 2016 preview, that's a lot. It probably has to do with the fact of how easy they made it to download. So if you're going to download software, it then pops up and says, "Hey, do you want to download the new preview?" So you can go and do that. So um, I'm off and on running the 2016 preview. I think I've got a wonky version of something on here somewhere. So even this morning, I was trying to download things and ran into a huge issue. So at the end of the day, I put 2013 back on. So hopefully tomorrow, I'll wipe everything. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. But it's cool that they've got different features that are rolling out. So they just made some big updates. Real time presence in Word. So that's kind of cool there, the collaborative authoring and stuff that's there. So you get those updates live. Simplified file sharing. Yeah, with the share ribbon. So that should get very interesting. Um, that should get very interesting. Um, as people start to share. We have another update coming on soon where the share button also allows you to go back to Box. So there's lots of different things there. Very cool stuff. Um, the insights for Office, that's just Word and Outlook. So contextual information from the web right into your reading experience, keywords, places, and different things like that. That's kind of pretty cool. So that one's out there. And then version history improvements. So good things there as well. So some interesting things there. I thought, yeah, Yeah, I think I think they have to. Yeah, if they're going for that mobile first working environment, they have to be able to have that co-authoring live. It's almost just like an expectation that it's going to be there. So, all really interesting things. It looks like Daniel from the audience said that he's heard that the OneDrive for Business Sync client should be coming out by the end of September, and there might be some more information available at Tech Ready. So I don't have any inside information for that one, and I haven't seen any blog posts on it, but that would be really cool. I know so many people are waiting for that. Oh, cool. Very cool. Yeah, that one's going to be a fun one when that one comes out. I know there's lots of anticipation about that um, coming out. The next thing that we saw, and I logged into my Office 365 tenant, and I had not been hit with any of these yet. Um, so these new features are supposed to be rolling out to first release um, over the next few weeks and then rolled out to all of Office 365 over the next several months. And these are new user experiences on the web, which just basically means new toolbars, new menus, new things are going to pop up in effort to make your life easier. Um, so contextual and immersive settings, meaning that wherever you're at, you can click on settings and it's going to let you change the settings for where you're at. Quick access to notifications. So a notification pane that basically gives you updates of what's been happening in your Office 365 environment. It looked pretty interesting. One that I think IT workers all over will love is this updated help pane and one new feature. So when you yeah, so when you go into the help pane, you can actually customize it to say call our help desk or put in information there to help guide people through getting help, which I thought was a really cool thing that they had done. So the IT pros or the administrators, the global administrators can be able to set that and then guide their users through that. Um, Corey, have you seen any of these in any of your updated tenants yet? I mean, I read about it, but I hadn't seen anything. Yeah, 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 yeah. So that should be interesting. Um, Cool. It looks like Daniel's got it. So Daniel has posted some comments about it. The gear icon menu with the settings is the only one that doesn't have a sidebar. Yeah, sometimes those settings, it's different when they do that. How everything's the same except for one. So I would totally encourage you to go into the Yammer group, and I'll be doing the same once I have access to the environment and I can go in and see it. Just go into the Yammer group and tell them your specific feedback on it, and see this is one of those things that traditionally as we've seen it, they roll these things out, but by the time it actually reaches production, it's changed based on first release feedback. So I'm guessing this is definitely going to be one of those, especially ones with UI. They seem to get a lot of feedback from people in the beginning, and then they can help make changes with it. So I in this way I have an embedded little video that kind of shows you all the new things. This is from the Microsoft blog, but this video is there. It kind of shows you some of the updates that are going on. So it might be something that you can watch through and see what's coming. Um, Next up is the access and security controls for Outlook, iOS, and Android. This is huge. Basically, what's happening is they're going to Active Directory authentication, library-based authentication, which is going to allow them to configure things like two-factor authentication on your Outlook app, on your phone, and your iOS and your Android. And so this is a pretty cool change. I know there were a couple of companies one that I previously worked for, that they had blocked the app because it didn't have the right level of security that they needed. But these are some of the types of things that are going to allow it to go more mainstream. So, Corey, had you seen this? Do you have any thoughts or opinions on this one? Good. Very cool. Very cool. And kind of going back to Exchange, we talked about some of the things that they had already done, but they also did, there were 7 specific online production enhancements that they did. So the EOP team, hard at work. A lot of this has to do with reporting and different things that you can do. So um, scheduling reports so you can kind of see what's going on in your environment. Also, doing a preview of quarantine messages so people can get a preview before they decide to take it out of quarantine or not. And then the backscatter with Boomerang, it's doing all the things behind the scenes to make sure that we get the safest email experience possible. So these are 7 new features. It seems like they're constantly coming out with them. Corey, I don't know if you have any feedback or comments on any of these new features that came out with this one. Right. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, there seems to be a lot of changes lately that don't impact the end user. So lots of good stuff going on in the back end. Um, This one is kind of cool. If anyone is out there using RMS, so rights management services, um, there's this concept of departmental templates. So you can have someone in the marketing department and they can have a certain set of templates and different things like that. Um, they are now supported natively in Office 2013. So if you're running Office 2013, there was an update that was made to it just through your basic updates that get pushed that now let those service departmental templates show up in the native menus of Office 2013. So this is a huge win for people who are using RMS. I'm not sure if anyone in our audience here today is using RMS, but this is a really cool. Yeah, right, right. Aren't there different plans though that you have to purchase if you're going to be using it? And so some of it could be a cost issue as well. Right. Yeah. Awesome. I think Dan mentioned that it's part of the E4 plan, so it might be something that's only included in one of the higher end plans, which I thought that was the case too. Um, E3, okay, E3 has it. Yeah, probably not. It's probably starting with E3. Yeah. Well, that's really cool. So you should totally do an updated post, Corey, and get it posted to IT Unity. Yeah, I think you should totally do that. So, not to give you more work or anything, but I think you should do that. Awesome. One that I know I have been waiting for a long time is the more control over data access with specific admin roles. So this is something that they announced at Ignite that they were going to be able to do. They might have announced it before Ignite. I can't remember, but they announced it where basically it means that you can have somebody that's a SharePoint admin or a Skype for Business admin, but not an admin for everything. And so this is finally starting to hit first release. So you should be starting to see that now in your environments. And so this is something that is super super important. So I'm so glad they brought it. Right. Well, it's super important when it comes to security, like Daniel said in the chat room. Like it's just really important to be able to say and know who has access to what and to control that. And so when they first came out, it was very open. And so it definitely needs to be trimmed down. And so I'm very glad that this is finally hitting out there. So really cool stuff there. The next two updates that we have are more around vendors. So these are two different vendors that have some new features up there. And so Brightstar is a vendor that I don't have a ton of experience with, but they keep popping up everywhere I go. And they seem to be doing a lot right now with Office 365. They have an intranet solution that kind of pulls together Yammer and Office 365. And so they have a blog out there on the Office blogs where they're kind of talking about uh, they don't eat their own dog food, they drink their own wine. So they're my kind of people. But they're kind of showing how they're doing it and how they've done an intranet with that. So, Corey, have you worked at all with Brightstar on anything? Mm, right. Yeah. Yeah, they've made a lot of noise lately, so I don't know if anyone in the audience is using them, but if anyone in the audience is looking for an internet type solution and they're just getting started with Office 365, in addition to the new things that are coming out with Infopedia and different things like that, which we have ideas around, but we haven't actually seen product yet, this would just be something to look at. So definitely one that I think you should check out if you're in that space just to see what they're doing. The other big announcement in the vendor space was that Box is doing Office Online for enterprise collaboration. So basically, what that means is from Office Online, you're going to be able to open, edit, do different things like that with files, and then save them back to Box. So for companies that are using Box, this is a huge plus because Office Online is kind of integrating with that, and that opens that up. So interesting things. It's very nice to see Microsoft playing nice with other vendors and seeing different things there. It's becoming a very nice world to see these Microsoft anywhere and everywhere type mentalities. Do you have any customers, Corey, that are using Box for the backend for the storage? how to get it back. Yeah. Yep. I've seen that in a few places. I have seen that in quite a few places actually. Um, Okay, couple more features that we have. And as always, if you guys have any questions or specific topics you guys want us to chat through in the, at the end of our updates or different things like that, just go ahead and post them into the chat window, and Corey and I will be happy to do that. Next update is compliance search in Office 365. So basically, this is going to be for quick searches. When you don't need a full-fledged search, right? So quick searches across content, looking for specific credit card numbers, something for data loss prevention, compliance search. So it's going to let you search all of your Office 365 without limits on the numbers of mailboxes or documents. Use keyword query language for advanced search. Search results with hit highlighting, so I'll highlight different things that are there, and then fine-grained permissions to control it can be searched. And so this is just another thing that's coming in the area of compliance. So if you have these features enabled and you're using them, if you want to be able to take advantage of these quick searches, they're again trying to make it easier for Exchange administrators to be able to do their jobs, and Office 365 administrators just to be able to quickly and easily do what they need to do without some of the heaviness of all of the tools that are there, because sometimes you don't want to take um, you don't want to take the wrong tool to the task if you don't need to, overkill or different things like that. So they're making these new features available. Mm-hmm. It makes it more accessible, which will cause people to use it more when the features are easier to use. So I'm excited about the changes that we're seeing in this space. So some of the next things we have kind of still going along to that. Um, in addition to all of the other changes that they've had in the Outlook apps for iOS and Android, they now also support Intune. So the mobile device management, the mobile application management capabilities that they talked about, you can now use that. And when you combine that with some of the different features that they have for multi-factor authentication and different things like that, basically the apps for Android and iOS are really becoming full-fledged apps that have all of the needed features to be used in that enterprise space. So you kind of combine that with the update that we gave earlier, and that's really good news on that front. Right. Yep. Very, very cool stuff. All right, we have just a couple more updates here. Um, the next update we have is the OneNote for iPhone and iPad, and they have improved. These are just basically improvements to make it more of a full-featured app that you can get on the other platforms. But basically, they improved the way that lists are handled and the checkbox list. Corey and I use this one quite a bit. Usually, when we're going to the grocery store, we have a list of all the groceries we need to get, and we check off what we've got. And so they've improved how that works on an iOS and an Android device. Oh, I'm sorry, not iOS and Android, just iPhone and iPads for this one. And then they also, if you're doing equations and math in OneNote, which I guess that would be very important for schools and different things that are using it. I know that I currently, right now, don't do a lot of equations inside of OneNote. We're probably getting close to teaching our kiddo that he can. Yeah, students can be using it and people in the education space. And they've also, yeah, yeah. Most definitely, most definitely. And then also they added a graph paper and lines paper. So if you're doing different graphing and stuff like that, you have the different selections of paper. So lots of really cool stuff, stuff that I wish existed when I was writing out all of those equations by hand when I was in school. So I definitely think the kids nowadays have it super easy. Back when I went to school, we had to use like paper and real pencils instead of tablets and styluses. Yeah, it's just not fair. It's very cool to see those changes. So lots of exciting things. I think I keep on thinking it's our last one and it's not. We have about three more. Daniel said that Microsoft just also announced a class dashboard. So Corey will have to check that out. I'll have to check that one out and see. Next up is resource management. And so I guess this is one from feedback from people who are working with project is the idea that you need resources and sometimes you know who they are. Sometimes you just need a generic resource and it's hard to pull that across everything. And so they're really transforming resource plans into engagements. And so, what these are is going to help align project managers and resource managers on the specific amount of work and period associated with it, and then they can use that information to pick the best resources for it. And so, it's really a new way of looking at how you manage the resources across the portfolio. So, um, I thought this was interesting. Existing plans will be automatically converted into engagements. If you're an on-premise customer, this is going to happen when you upgrade to Project Server 2016. If you're on Project Online, you're going to be able to decide when you want to activate the new features, which is going to migrate your resource plans into engagements. So any of the shops out there that are big project shops, this is definitely something that they should look into. They should probably look at testing and kind of see what is going to happen when those pieces come out. So definitely something that could have impact to your users, not could, will have impact to your users. So you definitely want to try to check that out and see. Okay. And okay, we have two more updates. Um, this one, I'm not sure how I feel about this update because I'm not really sure that I buy into it, that it's way more awesome. But I think what we can take from it is that they're hearing us. And basically, what they're saying is that they know they need to have more timely, targeted, and accurate messages when service incidents are coming up. And so they're still saying that the number one spot for you is your dashboard to find out where incidents are. But then they've also added toast notifications to the phone apps. So if you're running one of the admin phone apps, you can get toast notifications when there are downtimes. They've also into the service queue. So let's say I'm going to submit a ticket on an email issue, and my tenant has email down. When I go into the service incidents and I say I'm going to do an email incident, it's actually going to pop up and give me a warning that says, hey guys, there's already an issue. We're working on this and we're trying to fix it. This is likely related. So they're trying to cut down on that frustration of not having the information out to us. So these are some of the small changes that are coming out. Corey, do you have any thoughts on this one or any ideas? Have you seen any of this live yet? Yeah. Yeah, I like the mobile app experience. I still think the messages are still um, when I started to get more notifications on my mobile app, I felt like it was almost spam. Like I kept getting updates and then I was getting so much information, but the information wasn't really helpful. So I'm hoping to see that through these changes we can find that happy mix of when it's pushing information the right amount of information versus not having enough information versus all of those pieces. And I think that's one of those things that's going to happen over time. And it's going to really evolve into that thing. So the good news is that they're listening and that they're making changes. So we just definitely can keep up with them and see what they're doing, and then try to help them, help give them information on what makes the most sense. All right. Our last update for the day is that there is a cloud trust and security webcast series. So I thought this one was really cool. I think it starts July 1st or July 9th. So it starts early in July. And it's basically a series of webcasts just about the cloud and security and different things like that. So I highly recommend that for anyone. It's put on directly from Microsoft. It's with their virtual event series, and it's from the Microsoft Technology Center. So there will be tons of great information on those webcasts. So I highly encourage everybody who is an Office 365 user to kind of check out that webcast and see what's coming. So I think, yeah, yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Well, guys, that kind of brings us up on 2 weeks of updates. I think it's a little bit crazy how much has happened. I mean, you go to the beach for a week and look at everything that they're still doing. I know it's kind of crazy. So we'll leave the chat window open for a few more questions if anyone has any questions for us. And then I am back in, I think it's July 8th or 9th. Lyman will have the next presentation up, and Kathy Dew is going to be joining me for our next session. And we're going to talk about, managing projects and doing different things as well as the updates. It's July 10th is our next Pulse show. So there we go. So I see that some people are typing questions. So go ahead and we'll just open it up. If anybody has any questions for us, if not, we'll give you the last 15 minutes back for your day. Oops, it's the 8th. I thought it was the 8th. It's July 8th. Either way, the when you close out of here, the next one will be available for you to register. I must still have beach brain, and I haven't got the right date yet. So awesome. Well, I don't see any questions coming into the chat window, so I think we will give everybody their 15 minutes back. So we thank you guys very much for joining us, and we hope we will see you again on the 8th. And everybody have a great day, guys. Thanks so much.